Hey there, BookTube. Um, Noah, I'm back again. Want to just hit this small bookshelf that sits in my dinette area, kitchenette area. I mean, um, you know, it's three shelves, and it doesn't take long. So I figured I'd just knock it out while I had a moment here. I really want to get through my bookshelves and put it out there so that everybody can see, what I have, and 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 let me know if there's something that interests you, so I can have some more direction as to content. So you guys let me know what you think, and we'll just get to it. Don't mind my dishes in the sink back there. I got three daughters, so sorry. And all right, let's just get to it. So Resurrection, Leo Tolstoy. This is a little bit of a to be read um, area, and a place where I just put stuff that I think is interesting to just kind of pick up as I feel like, if I'm out in the living room, hanging out with the fam or whatever. So there's stuff on here that's not read, and there's a lot of stuff here that has been read. So mythology, Robert Graves, the Greek myths, and Odyssey of Homer. These things I got a long time ago, and have read through. Um, this is the Alan Mandelbaum translation, verse translation of the Odyssey. It's great. Robert Graves is a you know you guys know Robert Graves. Paul Astor's New York trilogy is sitting down here. Viktor Frankl. This is a seminal work. I mean, if you're not familiar with A Man's Search for Meaning, definitely familiarize yourself. This is an amazing work. I got just a paperback copy so I can read through it whenever I feel like retouching it. The Castle by Franz Kafka. Now, I haven't read that, and these little paperbacks that have just found their way up on top here. I went to a used bookstore maybe a few weeks before Christmas, and they were doing them for $1. So I just picked up some stuff that I've never read. The Castle by Franz Kafka. It's a cool edition, definitive edition with an homage by Thomas Mann. I got Hermann Hesse, Beneath the Wheel. Have not any experience with that one. I think I'm gonna get into some Hermann Hesse a lot this year, just because I have so much that I want to read by him, and I actually have acquired what I wanted. So Tolstoy, The Cossacks, and Other Early Stories. So that is that I just picked up. Have not read through any of his earlier work. Time Enough for Love. This is the shelf where Heinlein's Time Enough for Love has been, found its way over here. I'll probably put it back over on the other shelf when I'm done with this bookshelf tour. And then Tolstoy's final novel of his life, full novel, is Resurrection, and I have not read that one. So those little paperbacks, old paperbacks, $1 a piece. I just couldn't pass it up when I saw that they had a lot of stuff that I thought was really interesting. Another thing I wanted to say before we move on, that this bookshelf tour from over here. Now, I was talking about Thorns by Robert Silverberg in my popular fiction shelf TBR, and I skipped, when I looked back over the video, I skipped completely over a book that's sitting right by Thorns by Robert Silverberg, and it's The Feast of Dionysus by Robert Silverberg. So I wanted to let you know that I had that on hand, and this is something special. It's signed by Robert Silverberg. So I found it at Atlanta Vintage Books downtown, and it was a great find. So I couldn't pass it up. So I saw that I had, just for some reason or another, probably because I got into talking about Thorns a little bit, that I uh, just totally skipped over the Feast of Dionysus. So I don't know why. Just wanted to let you guys know, so no books fall through the cracks. There's probably going to be still some books that fall through the cracks. The Gethsemane encounter, that new Buddhist and Christian monastics in a dialogue about spiritual experience. To be read, it's made its way to this. I have Harold Bloom's. He edited and wrote an introduction to this, Bloom's Modern Critical Interpretations of Huxley's Brave New World. So that's part of this kind of shelf, is where I have some of the books that are part of that. I got for research for a book that I want to write, which is a spiritual, like a science fiction spiritual utopian novel, and maybe more than just one novel, but we'll see. It's a great idea, so I can't wait to get to it one day. Dark Eros by Thomas More. This is the imagination of sadism. So a lot of Marquis de Sade in there, but a critical work, and just thinking through some of this stuff. Chalice and the Blade. This is a little history of women, women's study book. I have not read through, but seemed really interesting, so I'm gonna check that out. Utopias, Social Ideas, and Communal Experiments. So this is going to touch on a lot of things that you have come in contact with utopias, different kinds of utopias, different kinds of utopias that have actually been tried. Owenites in India, ascetics in New Eden, the Shakers, a community of celibates, and just goes on and on and on here. So a lot of good information here, just to kind of get into some utopias. Now, this next one is really cool. This is called Reader in a Strange Land. Peter Rupert put this together. Rupert, maybe. The activity of reading literary utopias. And as you can tell, the title is a play on Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. So in this, he kind of makes the argument, which is not unjustified, that Stranger in the Strange Land is a utopian novel from Heinlein. And I mean, he definitely was talking about a better way of living than the kind of locked in way that we had sexually before the love revolution in the 60s and stuff like that. The role of the reader, Moore's Utopia, a whole thing on that, a whole chapter on anti-utopias, ambiguous utopia, a third alternative. So there's just some stuff to get into and do that kind of research there. Utopia by Thomas More. That one that I got just for reading through is sitting right there as well. Stories of Your Life and Others. Ted Chiang. This is a great collection of sci-fi short stories. Ted Chiang wrote Arrival. The Stories of Your Life is actually the short story that the movie Arrival is based on. It's great. And his stuff is really forward thinking. Elmore Leonard, Split Images. I have not read a lot of Elmore Leonard, so this is just something I came across, looked interesting, so I got it. It's to be read. This is Unholy Orders. This is a collection of writers with mysteries, but crime mysteries. So I got that one just to get a little freaked out if I'm going to. Broken Stars. This is a collection of sci-fi from China. So a bunch of Chinese sci-fi, and and you know, I have not read through much of that. 50 of the greatest mysteries of all time. You know, it has everything in there. Otto Penzler is the compiler there. You know, starts off with Edgar Allan Poe, the Purloined Letter, and then just goes on through the greatest mysteries. I picked this up in the middle of the year. Haven't read through it. I love experimental fiction, guys. I love experimental works. So this is the Dictionary of the Khazars, a lexicon novel by Milorad Pavic. And I've heard a little bit about this. Can't really say too much about what it really is getting at, or how it really lays out the work. But you know, I can't. You know, it's to be read. Leo Tolstoy, Anna Karenina. I would love to get to that this year in my Tolstoy. So I've already gotten through collected short stories Leo Tolstoy that I have in my work truck. I'll be talking about that a little bit, I'm sure. So I think I'm just going to keep on the short stories for a little while with Tolstoy. And we're on to the next shelf. So this shelf here is, you know, as you can see, philosophy, philosophical writers, and then some psychology. Now, I'm not a fan of Freud, you know. I'm just not. I'm definitely more of a Jungian guy. So, Man and His Symbols. This is a book that I got marked out from the local library here. It's in ridiculously bad shape. It's obviously been referenced and used over the years, but I just really couldn't pass it up because of how much illustration and how much you know, work went into this. And I've thumbed through it. I've actually gotten through this entire copy to experience it one time, but I don't pull it out, and I don't really, you know, won't use it for much. It's on its last leg, but I like to have a copy, hardcover, you know, Doubleday put that one out. Man and His Symbols. This is Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, Carl Jung. This is like a survey, you know, just going through different writings of his, pulling out snippets, so you can just kind of get where into what he's doing. Robert Wang actually created and did a tarot deck based on the Jungian archetypes. This is the Jungian tarot. It's actually really cool. You know, the Jungian tarot. So if you're going to approach spiritual, this is a textbook of mystical philosophy. So this is just the companion to the Jungian tarot, and it compares the Jungian tarot to different tarot decks there. Gives you a lot of information. So if you're going to approach spiritual growth and spiritual problems from a subconscious dream place, where you're at on that glyph, if you refer to my Zohar video where I talk about the Tree of Life glyph, where you're at is in the moon, you know, in the moon path. That's a path through the subconscious, a path through, you know, dreams and unconscious stuff. So that's Jung, and you can tell very, very deeply when you look at Jung's tarot that Robert Wang, that the moon is actually one of the most prominent cards. So and one of the most prominent energies of the deck, and because it's that kind of path, that's the kind of path that Jung was bringing us through. Okay, so aspects of the masculine, aspects of the feminine, Jung. And now this is gonna go through different works of his and just illustrating masculine and feminine energies and how they how he classified, you know, the anima and the animus, and then goes into, you know, some, like, you know, like mythology and how these energies have been over ages. Paracelsia. I did not get through this. This book looks really interesting though. An anthropology of reading in ancient Greeks. So I don't know why it found its way here, but it looks very very fun and a really interesting read. The Cynics, a whole book on the Cynics. This is the Cynic movement in antiquity and its legacy. Totally for reference, and just to kind of get an idea of different philosophical movements. This is one of my favorite philosophy books of all time, though. Boethius, Consolation of Philosophy. Boethius was imprisoned for a long time, and at the end of his life had written the Consolation of Philosophy. I don't know if this is true or if this is the legend, but wrote that from his cell, and had a discourse with the spirit of philosophy, the spirit of truth. I guess the divine Sophia is who it would be, and that Consolation of Philosophy is actually a narrative that shows that meeting and their conversation back and forth. I highly recommend it. It's awesome. Epicletus, Discourses, books 1 and 2. Plato's The Republic and Other Works. I have a small Plato right there. My Louisa May Alcott Transformational Wild Oats actually made its way there, but it should be up with the other kind of utopian communal experiment stuff. So I just moved it right up there. Great Dialogues of Plato, Selected Writings of Ralph Waldo Emerson. This is an old book. I got that back, in high school, and just have kept it because I love my old books, that I can remember reading through. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Self-Reliance. This is an amazing bit of Emerson's writings. Letters to a Spiritual Seeker, Henry David Thoreau. So I have just the Transcendentalists here that I kind of Walden and Civil Disobedience, Thoreau. I got a lot of other Thoreau on my phone that I've read through, but that's what I got in hard copy. And Introduction to Aristotle, an old book that I had for a very very long time. And just only reference it, you know what I mean? Not a big. I'm not going to sit down and just read, through Aristotle's works. Just not my thing, you know what I mean? So now we're here down at the bottom. This is art. I have over there Cosmic Art. This is a great book, just otherworldly types of art and stuff like that. Great stuff. A lot of food for thought to me. And this has, some, of course, some stuff that you'll recognize, but mostly is modern art. Modern artists and their stuff. I got a book on Metropolis, the movie. And it's actually the book that the movie's based on, but it has scenes from the movie with it. If you're not familiar with Metropolis, probably the first sci-fi movie ever made. A compendium to the Legend of Zelda. I have my youngest daughter's name is Zelda, so I have the Hyrule Historia. This is a Zelda book that has all full color pictures of all the characters, all the different stuff, everything associated with Zelda. Chinese and Oriental art, the Doré etchings for the Divine Comedy. It has every Gustave Doré etching for the Divine Comedy. So everything going all the way through to hell and back out the other side and all the way up to heaven and into the circle of angels. Awesome. Voodoo Child. It is a collected, illustrated legend of Jimi Hendrix. That's really interesting read. The Feral Child, A World of Art. This is actually one of my college textbooks. Stanley Kubrick by Taschen. This is a survey of his entire career. So a lot of great full color illustrations there. Full color pictures of him on set. Early stuff like Raging Bull, and then all the way to my favorite, Dr. Strangelove, and everything in between. Mind Sights. This is some kind of MC Escher kind of stuff. The Artist's Way. This is a book on creativity and unleashing creativity. Early medieval art. A book of mazes. Mandala book. This actually takes pictures of regular stuff like flowers, for example, or maybe galaxies or whatever. And there we go. Yep. And makes mandalas. Makes mandalas out of them. So very cool. It's a very cool work. I have this this kind of marble cup over there. It is gigantic, and it definitely does a good job holding my books on that side. But I need a bookend on this side. On this side, I have Nietzsche, Meditations on First Philosophy, Descartes, on Nietzsche, Steinhardt, and I got Thus Spoke Zarathustra, a seminal work. Definitely have to read some Nietzsche. Have to read some Nietzsche, guys. Let's see, we got Beyond Good and Evil, Friedrich Nietzsche. And then I got my St. John of the Cross over here as well. Dark Night of the Soul. I have a survey here called the Renaissance Reader. This is all poets, writers from the Renaissance period. It's a great work. It's a really great work. I've read through it. A lot of fun. Michelangelo, his life and life, letters, and poetry. So Michelangelo's written word. He was a master at everything, And then I have the Spiritual Canticle and Living Flame of Love, St. John of the Cross. So my St. John of the Cross sits over there, has found its way just to be out here, in the whole living room area, dining room area. Down there, I have a book on Michelangelo on the right. An art book of Buddhist mandalas called Celestial Galleries, and then I have a book that is Salvatore Dali's late works. It's a beautiful volume. That late works right there. So hope you guys enjoyed this shelf. Anything you like. I pretty much told you what I haven't read, and I've told you what I did read. So if there's anything you like, we'll go through it. We'll go through it a little bit more. If you want to see some of the art, holler at me. I'll do a video and we'll go through some of the artwork. You know what I mean? And just take a look at some of those beautiful pictures. All right. Thank you. Bye, BookTube.